Okay, I'm putting together a video for the series, and unfortunately it went long. I got disturbed, and my uncle stopped by and disturbed me and fucked me all up. So I don't know. I might have to do this one all over again. Let me listen to Harold talk here for a minute again.
The containment for the spores, because if you put this into the petri dish, you can see the next generation growing. And other things you find, now it's getting fringe, it's really getting fringe, is fragments of insect skin being extracted from a Morgellon victim. So something makes these, something from this disease is making insect parts or insects grow within the human body.
Right, because I'm gonna guess, I'm just guessing, Harold, that what that is it's the nanos and the electrodes that no one can see. Because even under your microscope, you're not going to see the nanos. You're going to have to learn their characteristics, and you can look at the electrodes for that because they share the similarity of not having any eyes or asses or non-shitters, I should say, and no eyes, no ears, nose, and things like that. So it just looks like a tiny little fucking fleck. But you can watch them. You can observe them and watch them work and stuff. And fungus is a good place to do that.
Did I say co-opted insects?
And what's happening is that you're saying co-opted insects. So if you got the nanos and the electrodes on that end of it, and they're probably mostly working the electrical systems of our body. That's definitely what works in them. But, so there are other kill-offs. It does not have to be just only adjusting your pH balance, which is big importance. That's why I came to this part of your video, because that is a big part of it. But it's not the only part of it. There's so much just to that part of it as far as cleaning your liver properly, because you don't want to open up your liver and then, like most people do, they end up with liver stones being lodged in their intestines or in their colon somewhere for fucking long time. Sometimes it could be years. So that's another thing that we should be concerned about when we're suggesting clean livers and all that kind of stuff, because you're exactly right. It is that way. So what you're finding for bug parts, which you bug body parts and bug skin and stuff like that, that would be the hybrids and the bios. So the bios and the hybrids, you're gonna find them. Just like I'm not very good at explaining things. I have a couple of I think they're your subs that have written to me in my email, and they've got some legitimate questions and some legitimate bitches and stuff about that. The way that I'm explaining things and stuff like that. And I don't know, I have a hard time apologizing. I'm doing the best I can. I think I'm doing a fairly good job at showing and explaining everything I can, especially as I go along, because there is a lot to this all. And I try to simplify it so that it doesn't confuse people. And I don't want people to get grossed out, scared. I'm not looking for drama. I just want to fix this. I just want to fix it all. Because it shouldn't be living by these lies like this, like we do. So yeah, so you're gonna find fragments of bug parts and bug skins and everything, because now you're talking about bugs. Now you're talking about what you would consider, and everybody, the scientific community, would consider bugs, which would be a bio or a hybrid metellus. Now, if it's a hybrid metellus, your scientific community does not even admit the hybrid metellus. And the funny thing about it is they've got about, I don't know, what, 50, 60 of them on their charts that are hybrid metellus, but they don't mention anything about them being hybrids. In other words, they're not having sex, they're sexless creatures. So how does a fungus metellus get together with a bird metellus and a spider metellus to become living in a human? And that's proven. There are metellus that are proven to go live in the human. Just like, for example, look at their cousins. The cousins of the metellus, the bed bug, was interested in the heat deep down in a mattress, right? So when they go into a human body, if you ever go look at anybody that's dealing with bed bugs, holy fuck, right? I mean, it takes them 6 to 7 hours of their fingers dipped in a chemical solution for the bed bug to even start showing up at the skin area. That's how deep down in their body they are. And you're extracting them in this way because it's the only way that they know how to extract them. And the chemicals are very hard for humans to deal with. That's why it was better when we were spraying the food, spraying the tobacco, spraying the chemicals all over everything instead of doing this shit that they tricked you into doing, which is the GMO free and fresh vegetables and fresh everything. That's the whole reason I'm trying to get this experiment done with smoking the fresh joint, to show you that. No, it's not. It's the opposite. We got sucked in. We bought into it. Because when we were spraying everything, our bodies would then eat them vegetables, let's say, and take them in on a small, minute amounts, and therefore our bodies would then use those ingredients to fight the metallus. It was another way we were using to fight them, besides having a proper pH balance, because having a proper pH balance is another way to fight them. I agree with you on that, and that's what you're talking about right now, and it's definitely true. Everybody's too acidic, so it's definitely a bitch. Our livers, cleaning our livers out so you don't have to have your gallbladder removed, because again, all around our stomachs are all filled with these metallus, all around our bellies and stuff like that are all these metallus. Our livers soak them up, seeing them as a danger to our body, and then the liver gets overfilled, pushes over into the gallbladder, remove the gallbladder. Now where are they going to go when the liver's overfilled, right? They're not even going to make it into the liver. The liver will be so fucking overpacked, or they won't even go in there. So there's a lot of ways and what you're saying is correct, and I'm trying to give you credit where credit is due about a lot of the things you're now saying in this.
When we had this NASA paper, we're getting there. To understand what this is all about, at first sight, this is a disease that should be cured. We worked on finding a remedy to cure Morgellons disease. It's easy. You don't even need to fight the Morgellons. You just need to re-establish a healthy environment within the human body. Take out the acids, take out the heavy metals, cure the function of the liver.
Okay, now we don't want to just only take out the heavy metals. What we want to do is find the proper balance of heavy metals so that our electromagnetic selves, our energies, are properly working. Instead of looking at the bio end of everything, that's what the medical industry does, and science pretty right behind the medical industry, being so sciencey, does the same thing. And you're going to go along with the medical industry. And I'm begging you, don't bother with them. They're fucking no. So it's not important enough to just take out the aluminum and the things that would reflect or dampen our electrical connection with the rest of the system. That's what you're talking about doing right now. So if you're saying get rid of the mercury, yes, because we have an excess of mercury, but our bodies, of course, need a certain amount of mercury to function properly electrically. So we need to know that balance before we just go taking out all of our mercury, right? Of course. Our body also needs small amounts of all these other minerals that we're talking about removing from the body. Right now we have way too much aluminum and mercury in the system. In the atmosphere, we're breathing it in everywhere, every which way. We're eating it, drinking it, everything. So we need to know what to replace it with. There are people who won't even accept iron. Their body won't even accept iron. They go to the doctors. The doctor gives them a synthetic version of an iron. It's ridiculous. Even when I'm telling you about probiotics and pH enzymes to balance out your body, they're synthetics. Like you're suggesting, Harold, there are better ways to do it than doing it on the synthetic way. In other words, don't just think that I would do it to get through a problem. I would use the synthetics, but in the long run, to make this go on for the rest of our lives, we don't want to be on synthetics the rest of our lives either. We might as well just eat the proper things that are going to pull these proper heavy metals into our bodies so that our our electromagnetic selves work properly with the rest of the system, and of course it would kill off these mites. Now we're still missing several things that you're not mentioning here that need to come into play in order to do that, though. Sound frequency, the sine waves, the hertz that we're all running at, the 60 hertz that everybody's got all around them. It's very hurtful. It sucks because it's everywhere. People are not going to want to admit this. They're not going to want to talk about it, but it's got to be done if we're going to really control the metallus also. All the killer chemicals and shit that you're fighting with your friends and everything, and I hear you talking, and you're talking about the GMO foods and the hybrids and stuff and things like that. That was part of the scam. That was part of the system. Get the people to want to kill themselves. Get the people to want to take themselves out. That's part of the lion-ass system. And then, as I was just telling your friend Ziggy, is that's the way all false history gets built and put together. It's false history. So they're going to do that now, and we get to watch it happen. I'm watching everybody get together and put together this total false history. That's why when you ask me, say, how can you say that dinosaurs didn't exist, and you're saying that I got the time frame all wrong, talking to Ziggy again. That's what I mean by this. It's all false history. You don't know that dinosaurs, you have no evidence that dinosaurs ever even existed, but here you are suggesting that I'm supposed to believe, just because 7.8 billion others believe, that it was millions of years ago dinosaurs existed, Mike, not 24 to 34,000 years ago. You're missing my point. I understand your point. You want me to be scientific and educated and read all these books that you read to understand history. And I'm telling you, that's all false history. Just like right now, we are creating the false history by making all these false assumptions based on our programming as human beings, our human programs, rather than just looking around and seeing things for ourselves. That's why I was so frustrated, Ziggy, with Harald. I don't have nothing against Harald. I like Harald. He's a very nice guy, and I do like listening to him most of the time. But as I was doing this video, I didn't have the option, as I'm trying to get to these points, to just shut the video off. I should have. Rather than get mad and be an asshole, you're right, I should just shut it down and start over the next day like I'm doing now. I'm much calmer, right? I'll probably get aggravated later, but because I'm talking so fast, I'm trying to get it all out. I'm trying to find the words to describe it. I'm trying to not use the words that have been put in our program to describe it. I'm trying to, at the same time, show you the imagery. I'm trying all these different things. So I don't mean to be an asshole to Harald. I like Harald. That's one of the reasons why I chose him to do the series to, because I like them. Some people I just do series to because I heard of them, or I might like a couple of their videos, like with Abraham. I don't know Abraham, any of his videos or anything till now. Now that I'm doing the series to him, I'm getting to know himself. Anyways, let's listen in again for a minute.
That is irritated by mercury, and that is irritated by a disturbed candida environment. This is due to antibiotics.
This is also true what he's saying right here. This is also very true, but I'm not going to interrupt him again.
So this goes, in the medical domain, this goes back to vaccinations, to antibiotics, which is completely disturbing our system. And at the end of the line, the Morgellon
That is also exactly true. The medical industry is definitely, we've done it to ourselves. There's 7.8 billion of us that all go along with medical industry. We all agree to have a pharmacy on every corner. It's not like we don't have a say about it. We are in such fucking denial about things. It's unbelievable. In the masses, it's not just a couple thousand people. That's why all the distractions have to be going on all the time. But what Harold just pointed out again is also true. The vaccinations, they're about to whack you all again with the Lion Mama Conan 19 vaccination, which is a chickenpox vaccination. They already were putting the chickenpox is another Metellus. Harold, the chickenpox is a Metellus, Harold. Seriously. And so is, so are everything that's related to the chickenpox, such as the smallpox is another Metellus. It's a more closer relative sister to the strain that is the chickenpox. And then they also have, what's the other, the shingles. Shingles is another one, also a Metellus. These are all close brothers and sisters of that particular strain Metellus that we call chickenpox. Now here we're going to bring another one. They'll put masks on. 7.8 billion zombies will all wear masks to protect themselves, supposedly from what they know is a nano-sized particle. Okay, so they know that it's a nano-sized particle, but yet all 7.8 billion of them agree that wearing a mask that does nothing to stop nanoparticles. None of them have anything on, none of them. So 7.8 billion of them, and not one of them is stopping the nanoparticles from coming out. You explain it to them, you try to talk to them one at a time. I've talked to hundreds of people about this. And what they say is, oh, it's stopping my saliva, my spit, my cough, if I do or if somebody else does, so it's just out of respect for the other person and blah, blah, blah. Again, I say to them, that doesn't make any sense. If you cough inside that mask, all the nanoparticles, the air that carry this airborne particle that you're calling COVID-19, I call Lion Mama Conan 19 because I'm worried about copyright infringements and being shut down all the time over using certain words and language. It's ridiculous. But anyways, that doesn't stop the particles that you're worried about. Your mask, it'll stop your saliva, but that's a liquid. That's a liquid you're talking about. It's stopping. It's not stopping the nanoparticles that we call the Lion Mama Conan 19 virus. They don't get it. They don't get it. So why are you all wearing fucking masks then? I ask myself, because they certainly aren't going to answer me.
Is kind of trying to save us from all the poisons that are within us. Save us from the acids, save us from the heavy metals by containing them. This is why the body allows them to grow. So this is actually not a...
Okay, what you just said there, Harold, is partially true. And it's not the Morgellons that are doing that. What you're talking about here, and you may not even realize what it is you're talking about, so let me explain it real quick and maybe you'll get it. Follow the biometellus all the way to the nanometellus, and if you look at all of them and you watch them, you're going to notice that there are cannibal metellus in every single one of them. So let's say out of the, just use what the medical industry even admits to. The medical industry admits to 2,500 to 5,000 metellus, but they also say in the back of their pages that they will admit that there are another tens of thousands, possibly hundreds of thousands of metellus that they don't know about and they can't see and they can't hear it, feel it, nothing. They admit to that. Okay, so let's just use the 2,500 that they openly admit to. So the 2,500 biometellus that are out there, a good 1,000 of them are cannibal metellus. So we consider these cannibal metellus to be good for us because, let's use the skin metellus as an example. The ones that are, not the skin metellus, but the dust metellus. It's a dust metellus, but it lives on your skin. It lives on the outside of your body. They wash off easy when you take a shower and wash up with a washcloth. They come off easy and stuff. But anyways, not when they're comboed with a spider metellus, which the medical industry does not admit to. But anyways, back to this. Okay. So what they count on is these cannibal metellus to eat off a good portion of the population of the metellus. But the cannibal metellus run on their own certain frequencies, same way that all these other metallics run on certain frequencies and react different to different light spectrums, and they will act different to different sound frequencies and all these things, okay? And what you're feeding them as well. So if your body, let's say, like you're talking about, has too much mercury, too much aluminum, you're not reflecting around inside your body from area to area. You're not reflecting that magnetic pulse around enough to even affect them, okay, certain ones. So you might be, whatever you might particularly be eating yourself, let's say, you might not be reflecting the right frequencies to kill off the metallics that are bad for you, that you don't want. I think they're all bad, but the medical industry, I'm saying, thinks that these other certain ones are bad for you. So you may not be killing those off. You might be instead killing off the cannibal metallics. So if you're accidentally on the wrong frequency, then you're killing off all your cannibal metallics. Then there are no cannibal metallics to eat all the other what you consider bad metallics. That's what you're describing right here when you're describing this as. Unfortunately, you're only considering the Morgellons, but there are all these other metallics that are also come into play here. So if they are not being eaten by these other cannibal metallics, then they will thrive. Just like if you put them on the right energy, they will thrive, and you give them the right foods, they will thrive, and all that kind of stuff, right? So on and so forth.
Disease that is infecting us with bad intentions. Everybody's infected, but the one who has too much heavy metals in the system will show symptoms because he will allow these fungus to replicate and suck in all these heavy metals. Now, if you want to understand the agenda behind, there was a brave lady at Harvard University that made the chemical analysis of these fibers in the nanolab. And she threw out just a number of chemical formulas. I'm not going to name them. And she also analyzed the single color particles that she found in the air, also the color airborne, that then at a certain...
Which, Harold, we can all see all this for ourselves. People choose not to look and they choose not to see it, but we actually can see all this for ourselves. You don't need a nano lab. It's way overboard for what. I'll just let you know that as I'm going along.
Point is entering the mycelium after it replicated within the human body.
Look at the imagery in here.
Yeah, so this is coming to the concept of self.
And now that you're showing me this, all right, I'm already at 22 minutes. Okay, now that you're showing me this, and I'm looking at this, I never noticed this when I looked in at the Morgellons on Richie from Boston's channel. Maybe I was just too pissed off about it all. They're doing the same thing here. One type of the Morgellons fiber is tracing out the imagery, and the other color, the red color, is adding detail and contrast. This is fucking funny shit, man. And you don't need a laboratory. We could just look at it and see it. And this one doesn't fall into the imagery. Let me see. Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And this one's tracing it out too. Okay. So this red fiber here is tracing it out. I thought it was only going to be the blue ones. This red one right here, it's tracing out that image right there. Eye, nose, and mouth. So they do trace them out too, the colors. This one was sticking to the new theory, but I guess I just blew the theory with that other one. Alright, so that's something I definitely have to look into more. Maybe there's a reasoning for that. I thought I struck on some gold on that one because, just to let you know, there's all full of imagery in here, but just to let you know, that's a huge eyeball right there. That's a huge eye. besides all the other little images that are in there. Yeah, it is funny though. It's Alright, let's listen a little more.
Assembling nanobots. Self-assembly means you spray the fiber, it is replicating, you spray the color, and within the...
Okay, what you just said there is another reason why. This is why I stopped going over to the... One of the other reasons why I stopped listening to your channel, and Jamie Lee from A Plain Truth. I was putting you guys all in the same breadbasket because of what you just said. Nanobots. So unnecessary. I mean, the system is all here for us to see. It nothing to do with nanobots. This is going to start aggravating. I'm going to start getting angry again. I think I'm going to have to go on to something else again and get away from this. Hold on a minute. Let's see where you go with this.
Human body, the color and the fiber is mounting to a working unit. This is what you call self-assembling nanobot. If you just take the chemical formulas of these colors and put them into Google, something really, really funny happened. I found that in Berlin there's an American company that has a kind of daughter in Berlin, and they are holding all the patents, world patents for these colors. And if you look at their website, they're very proud of themselves, serving the medical community with these quantum dot liquids, with these quantum dot colors, and with other lab equipment for mainly transhumanistic research. And if you look into they have a long list of publications of people who bought their stuff and used it in the lab. And whenever a publication was coming out of these labs, they just listed the publication on their home website to just to advertise their own products, basically. And if you look at this, you can find all the things connected to the Morgellons disease. You find like large area self-assembled plasmonic photonic crystals. If you go into this publication, you find these hexagonal forms. And if you look for the function, actually this is a thing that is collecting a radio signal and turning the radio frequency into DNA readable light impulses within the body. So this is the reading.
It's been that way the entire time. Every program has been this way. It's getting further and further bio. It's not going further towards the direction that you're claiming that it's going. It's going further away from the direction. All right. It's the other way around. It's you've got this in reverse. I really seriously hope that you might understand a lot of this, Harold, a lot better than even I do. From what you're saying, from your experiences, if you will look at it. If you go and look at the system, like I'm telling you, it might take you a month or two to see it all. And then you'll understand what I mean. Okay, nanobots, unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. The whole system is an electrical system. What you're calling nanobots are shit compared to the... think of the nanomites themselves, the nanometallus. The nanometallus, okay, and then look, when you watch the builders work, watch the EMNC. I was actually thinking of something else. I'm going to go back to your black goo, because I might be able to show you something and you'll understand a little better about that to understand the builders a little better. The builders that are all around us, right in front of your face right now, they're putting you together and building you as you're speaking.
Unit. If you look down there, you have photonic crystal fibers. If you look what they do, it's normally they talk about carbon nanotubes filled with these colors, with these quantum dot chemistry. And the function is to collect light processed by the DNA and turn it into a readable signal. Exactly what Cara St. Louis described in her novel. And if you put the two together, this goes beyond the novel. You get a read-write unit. I can take one person, make him angry, read out his anger, digitize it, put it on an antenna, and address 100 people that are not angry. And if they have this biology within their system,
You do have that biology within your system. We all do. That's what I was saying to you yesterday. That's called your soul, your spirit, and that energy is connected with the rest of the system. It's already set up this way. It's been that way all along. You're going backwards, Harold. They're sending you backwards. It's not even your fault. I mean, you're looking at these companies, like this company here. You're looking at it. Okay, nanobots and the fibers and everything like that. It's already here. It's been here all along. They're not dumping the minerals out of the jets in order to make it happen. They're dumping the minerals out of the jets to control what's already happening already from the natural system. The natural system is an electromagnetic nanocarbon system. Just so the same way that Tesla was built up in our history books to be somebody who knew what he was talking about and ahead of his time and all this shit. It's just a distraction. He fucking slowed us down. He sent us backwards. His inventions and the things that he did were terrible. The people that I looked up to all my life, right, might even be some of the same people that you might have looked up to. I mean, what kid did not look up to Benjamin Franklin as like fucking biggest hero ever? I mean, all of his inventions and all of his, you know, it was unbelievable. It was like every other day that guy would invent something new that would set us off on this new generation of electricity and power and nothing. You can't use anything without electricity or electromagnetics without thinking of first Benjamin Franklin and then maybe in the last 100 years or whenever Tesla died, but then Tesla. But otherwise, those are the two names that will come to your head when you think of electromagnetic or electricity. You'd think of Ben Franklin, right? He's a fucking liar. And I don't know that he was the liar. It's just the whole system. It's the 7.8 billion. At that time, there was there was 2.5 billion or whatever in his time that were on the earth, right? Something like that. We jumped up quite a bit. They've all been lies. They're all full of shit. So whether it was him believing his programs and then continuing on with them, kind of like we're doing here now, like we're watching you do now, or was he the inventor of the lies? Because there's a much better system that's all around us that we can see for ourselves, and you're trying to act like you're heading to that system and they're trying to get to that system. No, we're leaving that system. That system was already there to begin with, and we've flip-flopped everything, and now we're going in a total another direction while it's at the same time talking about a goal of getting to where we already are and have been and now leaving, and we're acting like we're trying to get to it. It's
they will feel exactly the same experience of anger that I read out from the singletons.
yes.
So, what do I need? Do I need an Arabic Spring? Easy.
You don't need to do that. That can be done with facial expressions. It can be done even if you just see somebody's eyes through their mask, right? Because everybody's 7.8 billion of these fucking retards are walking around with masks on. You don't even need their facial expressions, just their eyes alone. You can have a complete conversation with someone. You do a million a day, right? When you're walking by somebody in the store, they're not saying anything to you. You look at them. You can't see their face. They got a mask on, so you have to use another ability that we have, which is look at their eyes, and you're going to see a little bit of facial recognition things going on. In other words, are their eyes squinting? Are they wide open? Do they eyes look surprised or sad or happy? Are they showing a little wrinkles that they got a smile, might have a smile under their mask, and you can see it on their, yes, that's one. And then you can also look into their eyes. And then when you look into their eyes, you're seeing into the photon light system, energy system that they're a part of. And you'll see even more. Not too many people ever do that anymore. We haven't done that in a few thousand years. Really look into each other's souls. Very rarely. Lovers will say that they are doing that, and sometimes they do. But they're also under false assumption. So in other words, you've got the energy all around you to do this already anyways. It all could be happening. If a brother breaks his leg in California and all of a sudden, a matter of fact, it just happened to me last night, and I'll mention it, and it's not, I'm not worried about like jinxing myself or anything, because it's just the way that it goes. Okay, last night I had I was just telling my uncle about it too, about an hour ago. I should have talked about it on camera then. I had a strong feeling of sadness, and I was trying to figure out who it was coming from and where it was coming from. That's me reading energies. Now, it's usually difficult to do that because nobody else believes this, and you have to have other people that are connected to the energy realizing that they're connected to the energy, because whether you like it or not, we're all connected to this energy. Definitely the feline, canine, rodent, ape, human, and beast for sure. But you could also look into the eyes of a dolphin and feel this energy too, right? And know what the dolphin is thinking, and is he sad, is he happy, what kind of noises are they making. You don't have to understand dolphin language to do this. It's an unspoken language. We all share this energy, and there's a lot of ways to communicate with this energy. We've just all been so fucking dumbed down, we don't know how to use it anymore. The church has all fucked it all up over the years, right? The biblical shit and the spiritual shit, they all lied to us, so we don't know what the fuck is what on that. So you have to go walk down the street, walk into a building, and tell it to some human so that this so-called God will then hear it. I mean, so fucking stupid. No, we all have a connection with this energy. We all do. So you don't need to go anywhere, do anything. You don't have to go to my uncle was just at the graveyard visiting my uncle's grave. I would never do that. My uncle's right here with me. He always is. And not only is he here with me now, but he's also there with you too, Harald. And with my uncle down the street, and with my aunt down, because it's all one. So you don't have to go from point A to point B, because point A is point B. That's the energy. That's the system. It's a beautiful thing. It's all one.
Just introduce some anger to the system. So this is basically the possibilities that lie within a read-write unit, like a tape recorder. Record the human experience, the overall human experience of a human. And you can tell by the colors what this includes. Blue is the light that we process for thinking, and red is the light we process for sexuality.